Okay, there's no such thing as a common set form of South-South partnership, and also not a common set of traditional development partnerships. So it's very hard to answer that question. But overall, at least in the rhetoric, South-South cooperation claims to be more equal, more horizontal relationship of partnership rather than North-South aid charity type of relationship. It's a relationship of mutual benefit, of exchange between two countries of the South. So the power dynamics are different. There's not a donor and a recipient, but both are engaging and mutually benefiting from the collaboration. In South-South development partnerships, there are many actors. You have some of those countries like Mexico, like Korea, like Turkey, who used to be developing countries but now are full-fledged donor countries and are part of the OECD. Then you have the new emerging economies, the so-called BRICS, and particularly the Chinas, the Indias, the Brazil, which are very powerful in their regions and are great providers of South-South cooperation. And then you have another layer of smaller middle-income countries that are providing assistance. Some people have called these the civets. The Colombias, the Indonesias, Vietnam, South Africa are part of this group, which are also providing development assistance in one shape or form in the region. And then, of course, you have the regional organizations like the Pacific Islands group, or in Africa, the NEPAD, which facilitates South-South cooperation and learning and exchange between developing countries. So these are all different actors. In Africa, we have particularly South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, now Angola, becoming more prominent economically and providing assistance to their neighbors. So you have quite a large variety of South-South cooperation providers. Obviously, in the development process to Africa, everybody needs to contribute. So in part, Africa's own domestic resources are important, but also assistance from the outside. You have the traditional donors, the northern donors, the western donors, which have been for now decades providing assistance to Africa, but now we have a whole bunch of new players. We have a private sector, but we also have the new emerging economies and other countries of the South helping each other in their development processes. So obviously all assistance is welcome to Africa as long as it is aligned to the country's own development plans and development trajectories. So obviously South-South cooperation is very important and relevant for Africa. It provides different options and choices for African countries of different development packages, different assistance, different technical assistance that they can receive from different sources. Now it's not always coming from North America and Europe, but now also from other fellow developing countries and from other African countries. That is why South-South cooperation is important. It's hard to measure the exact contribution of South-South cooperation to development in Africa. We don't have enough evidence at the moment on this. There's not much rigorous impact evaluation done on South-South development cooperation. This is some work that needs to be done, forthcoming by academics and by different organizations to actually measure the real impact and contribution that South-South cooperation is having on the people in Africa. This is something that we will hopefully find out more as monitoring and evaluation systems become better. Information on development cooperation from the South is more clear. At the moment, these are major weaknesses that need to be addressed before we can come up with solid evidence on the impact of South-South cooperation in Africa. Well, when African countries engage with other countries of the South in development cooperation, they need to relate to them like they do with any development partner. So the same principles, rules that the country set should be applied to all partners. So some of the basic principles, such as ensuring that the development cooperation is aligned to the country's development plan and development objectives, such as transparency and of information on development spending, things such as accountability, issues on building local capacity and using country systems and using country resources. All of these are universal principles. They're important in North-South cooperation, but also in South-South cooperation. So there shouldn't be any particular differentiated treatment. All of these are different development partners that Africa can use to support its own trajectory and have the options of choosing either going with a European donor or with China or with Brazil. All of them can bring useful contributions to the country's development, all bring different expertise and specialized areas. So Africa should tap into all of them but channel all of them for its own national development process. One challenge could be the issue of tied aid. The North has been trying to untie aid as much as possible. The South still tends to tie its aid to its contractors and companies and technical assistance from its own home countries because it needs to support also its domestic industry. But I think gradually the Southern providers have to learn also to use the local capacities in the African countries and build capacities in the African countries and provide just the minimum support, whether financial or technical, to empower the Africans to take ownership of their own development process. To maximize South-South development partnerships, but all development partnerships in general, it's very important that every single African country, but also regional institutions in Africa, create frameworks for monitoring development cooperation and keeping all stakeholders accountable, mutual accountability frameworks, so that all partners can be evaluated on how effectively they are improving the development conditions in Africa, and following internationally agreed principles, and truly ensuring that the development assistance is geared and contributing to improving the lives of the people. So local, country-based monitoring and accountability frameworks are critical to be developed in every single African country, and also regional institutions like NEPAD can take a strong role in creating regional platforms for this.